G'day everybody, welcome back to the Black Jersey. My name's Max, I'm the host of this channel, and what a Six Nations we just witnessed over the last few months. I'm recording this video about 3 days after France won the Grand Slam, as you will probably all know by now, and goodness me, as a neutral observer rather, it was a very entertaining watch. Today I'm bringing to you the Six Nations team of the tournament as selected by me. A big shout out to my patrons who are going to get an early view of this team, and I'll just tell you the criteria before I start. Basically, because each team played 5 games, the maximum amount of minutes a player could have played in the tournament was 400 minutes, and basically I've selected players who have only played at least half of those 400 minutes, so 200 is the minimum for this video. And there were a couple jerseys I was kind of unsure about, just because there were indeed only 5 games per each team. So at the end of the day, the placing on the table was the eventual deciding factor for a couple jerseys. So I've got 5 French players, 4 Irish players, 3 English players, much to the dismay of everyone else. I've got 1 Scottish player, 1 Welsh player, and yes, I do have 1 Italian player. To start things off, my loose head prop is Alice Genge. What a tournament the guy had. He's come from not even being a regular starter for the 2019 World Cup, now he's one of the vice captains. He played 331 of the 400 minutes available across his 5 tests. He ran an insane amount of meters, as you can see in the stat board I've written up on Excel. He ran 134 meters in the competition, including a massive 78 against France. The tactic of him at number 8 at set piece really worked very much. He also beat 5 defenders in the competition, a clean break, 34 carries, 16 passes, 1 offload, 44 tackles and 1 turnover. So not only is he getting in, doing the mahi at the scrum time, but he's carrying just like a berserking beast. He's just getting better and better as a player, and to be honest, I think Genge can get even better. Julien Marchand is my hooker. I think he had a very solid tournament as well. Though his stats don't seem off the chain to you guys, I think the massive impact he made was the line-out throwing and his ruck speed, which made a huge amount of difference. He did, as you can see as well, win man of the match against Wales for a good performance there. And that's probably the reason why he keeps getting picked over Camille Shah, who is not even in the squad, because he just has that ruck speed, he gets to them quick, and even though he doesn't do a lot of tackling, he makes it hurt when he does tackle. We're now onto the tight head prop, Tide Furlong. Furlong didn't have a vintage Six Nations because of that incident against England where the scrum got ripped apart, but other than that, it was a pretty good season for the Irish tight head prop. A massive 329 minutes played, as you can see, not bad for a prop whatsoever. Very good hands from Furlong as well. He's really developing just that opening up of the field with his 21 passes, a good effort from him. Cameron Woki is my number 4 at lock. I wanted to go with Woki for a similar reason I went for Marchand. As you can see, 337 minutes played, but only 17 meters off 16 carries and only 32 tackles. For me, it's once again about that ruck speed though, and they just don't show stats for that on Ultimate Rugby, which I use as my statistical resource. Cameron Woki though, what an athlete, dynamic in the line out, dynamic around the field, just making sure his team keeps onto that ball. He's so good at that. I then wanted to pick as my lock 5 a player who's a bit different to Woki. I wanted a bit more of a carrying lock, and so I've gone with Tide Burn, who I think is having a career best season. 85 meters is not too bad for a type 5 forward. It's not quite Genge's level, but pretty good, as you can see from the stats. 37 passes once again. Those Irish forwards are really showing their hands. 38 tackles as well, that's a good effort, just the 2 turnovers to go with it, and yes, a defender beaten and a clean break. Very good for a lock. My number 6, Francois Crowe. It's kind of cheating with Crowe because he is an open side. The open sides wear 6 in France, but hey, whatever, he wore 6, I'm fine with it. As you can see, his running game's not off the chain by any stretch. 39 meters and a defender beaten, and 13 carries, so that is decent meters at least for the amount of carries he's made. 58 tackles as well, that's the most of any player we've got in this 15 so far. He does not carry a lot, but goodness me, his hits hurt. And he does have 1 try for the Six Nations as well, scored it against England. So here's the first try scorer of this selection. My number 7, I did tell you I've got an Italian player, and I've gone with Michele Lamaro, who is the top tackler of the tournament with 86 tackles and 3 turnovers. Considering not a single player in Test rugby made over 100 tackles last year, as you can see it was Hamish Watson and Dalton Papali'i taken out at the top, he's probably going to reach 100 this season. Some good meters for his carries as well. I feel like Lamaro is a very polite young player, working hard to develop his game, and he's just leading the team with so much respect for everyone around them. I prefer him far more than Sergio Parise, who kind of tried to one-man team it a bit too much for me. Speaking of a one-man team, my only Welsh player for the team is Toby, or Talupi Faletau's given name. Faletau did only play 3 games in the Six Nations, but 240 minutes, it gets him over the threshold, and he was on fire. Some people are going to grill me a bit for not selecting Josh van der Fleer or Gregory Aldred, who are nominated for Player of the Tournament, but I think Faletau was in better form than Aldred. I think Faletau played some of his best rugby ever since 2017. The meters, the carries, and the tackles, huge for just 3 test matches in my opinion, and it kind of did feel like he was a one-man team for Wales at times across those 3 test matches. Now we're going to move into the backs. It was kind of obvious. I voted for Anton Dupont to be the player of the tournament. He won 2 Man of the Match awards throughout the competition against Scotland and against England. As you can see, the running stats were just going crazy. 203 meters and 13 defenders beaten from just 32 carries. No surprises to see he's made the most passes of anyone in this team I've selected. And it's not bad to see 41 tackles and a turnover from a 9 either. He's clearly backing up all the talk about him, which is great to see. I voted for him for player of the tournament, just letting you know. Now, the first 5 is Marcus Smith. He won his 2 Man of the Match awards back to back against Italy and Wales. He just had a fantastic tournament, really lit it up. He only missed 17 minutes of test rugby throughout it, massive amount of meters run, massive amount of defenders beaten, and his 71 points, including 2 tries, were the highest point scorer, made him rather the highest point scorer of the competition. So yes, a very good solid effort for Marcus Smith. 129 passes was huge as well. England's centres didn't really pass too much because a lot was coming off 10, unlike the game plan for Harlequins. 2 turnovers as well. We can defend. Now for my left winger, I want to go with Gabon Villiers from the championship winning side of France. He started the competition with a massive performance against Italy. In the game he got a hat-trick, and so because of his hat-trick it makes him the joint top try scorer with James Lowe and also Damien Penaud, who have not selected for this because of other players. Look, Gabon Villiers I had not heard of till the All Blacks played France at the end of last year, but goodness me, even though he made 14 tackles, he hits hard. 6 turnovers as well, the most turnovers of any player I've selected for this team. Though the guy didn't get a lot of carries, he made the most of them. He ran for it on the charge. A very, very good winger. I think he could get even better as well. Now we're moving on to a bit more of a physical carrying player, Bundy Aki. How we kept Robbie Henshaw out of the starting lineup is a mystery to me, but he proved why he was doing it. Across his 4 tests, he did some very, very good rugby. Some decent 31 passes across it. Did get 1 try as well to open up the tournament with, and his tackling just as good as ever. His offload game came in useful as well, as you can see with his 3 offloads. The 12 jersey, the inside centre position, was just a bit of an unknown for me, so I took a safe bet. I went with Aki because he was Mr. Consistent. We're now moving on to the number 13. I have an English player just to trigger the Welsh and Irish and Scottish fans. I've gone with Joe Marchant. I've been saying this dude's a good player for a very long time. He's been really proving himself as a superior athlete with so much class and an all-round game. Though he made just 16 passes, he made them count, and he proved to be one of England's few creators because of Henry Slade playing out of position at second 5 or inside centre, as I'll say for this video. 121 metres was very good as well, and 5 defenders beaten, not too bad either. The dude just knows how to play, and he hits pretty hard for not the biggest guy as well. Now we've got 2 players left, and my right winger is going to be Mack Hansen. He played 4 tests across the competition, 2 were in the 11 jersey, 2 were in the 14 jersey, so I've gone with Villiers for 11 since he got the most tries. Look, though Lowe got more tries, 2 of them were against Italy, so does it really count for too much? Mack Hansen has really just exceeded my expectations so much since I found out Ireland were taking over an Aussie with an Irish mother. Mack Hansen tackles hard, and he's really good at being a third distributor in the midfield. He can pop up in there, which really opens the field for the Irish. The Irish and the French are the most All Blacks-esque teams right now, and having an extra distributor has served the Irish very well. 239 metres as well. Massive effort for Mack Hansen in his first four tests in international rugby. Now, the last player on this list, guys, I know it's a bit of a cliche at this point to select Stuart Hogg, but you can't deny the dude has been on fire with his running game and with his defence. He did get a bit greedy with the ball every now and again, but he did make the most metres in the competition with 462. I really love the ability of his that he's made himself able to slot in as a first 5 as well, or a fly half I should say, every now and again. 43 passes as well, so the selfishness is kind of not too bad. It's just the examples people are thinking of are pretty blatant. 13 tackles isn't massive, but you know, he makes up for it with the kicking game, he makes up for it with the running game, and the most important thing, the Scottish captain Stuart Hogg played all 400 minutes of the Six Nations. Massive effort from Hoggy, despite the rumours of a bad Scottish team culture. So that pretty much wraps up what I have to say about my Six Nations team of the tournament. I'm going to put down some honourable mentions for each jersey in the comments of this video, so make sure to give that a read. The black jersey is also present on Instagram, that's how I started this whole movement, and I've also got a website dedicated to writing articles and a Discord server as well. If you want to support me financially, you can hit up my tip jar and PayPal, you can hit up the Subscribe Star or the Patreon account. I want to thank you guys very much for watching this video. You better comment your team of the tournament, because I know that you guys are going to come up with some fantastic picks for this team. Cheers for watching, guys. My pleasure.